Welcome. In this video, I would like to continue my discussion of the forms of academic writing and address specifically concision, writing concisely in academic style. Let's get started. I've created the subtitle for this presentation, Getting to the Point Effectively. There are three terms that are often used interchangeably, as if they were synonyms, but they're not exactly synonyms. You've heard me use the word succinct in prior videos. Succinct is writing that is characterized by clear, precise expression using just a few words if possible. It's sometimes also described as being concise or terse, but I'm going to attempt to demonstrate that it's not really terse, although succinct writing is usually also concise. Concise writing is expressing the full intention using as fewer words as possible. It's sometimes also described as clear and succinct. So you can see that even the American Heritage Dictionary of the English language and the Merriam-Webster Dictionary really are not making a very obvious distinction between succinct and concise. But to me, succinct characterizes also precision and specificity in the choice of words, whereas concise is better characterized in my mind as removing superfluous words, unnecessary words. Terse, on the other hand, is, in my mind, brusque or short. It's like a command. There really is no unnecessary word included in a terse statement, and it often is to the point of being a little unemotional, possibly even a little bit offensive. But I liked the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Languages description that terse is effectively concise. And it's that adjective, effectively, that really allows the use of the word concise as a definition of terse. It gets to the point. There's no wasted verbiage. Now, in concise writing, weak or wordy phrases are replaced with direct, specific words. So I sometimes challenge my students to remove convoluted descriptions and replace them with a specific noun that characterizes the same intention. So, for example, the thing to do before anything else is blah, blah, blah. That can easily be replaced with first, do this. Instead of using music with vocals, try listening to ambient sounds. That can be rewritten without changing the meaning as try to substitute ambient sounds for vocal music. Now, there may even be a more precise noun that identifies vocal music, but I couldn't think of one when I was writing this presentation. The professor believed, but could not prove, that the student was ill. Well, to believe something to be true without proof is to assume. So the professor assumed that the student was ill. A well-designed course will make available to students those learning opportunities that they can use to best prepare themselves for life. That wordy sentence can be rewritten as, a well-designed course prepares students for life. Now, I recognize that the verbose statement and the concise statement in that example are not exactly the same intention. The verbose statement conveys that it is the course that presents the opportunities that prepare the students for life. And the concise statement conveys that the student prepares themselves for life. But really the gestalt, the general feeling of the two sentences is about the same intention. In concise writing, get rid of all the dead wood. Remove all unnecessary words, such as has been demonstrated by past history, can be changed to history shows. Or, many people have been sufficiently observant to note that when a naturally occurring concretion of indeterminate size or shape is in declining physical motion along an incline, there can be a low probability of its acquiring the type of thick green plant growth that typically grows on the side of trees and other stationary objects and is orthogonally aligned with the equator facing in the direction toward a pole. All right, blah, blah, blah. What that means is, a rolling stone gathers no moss. Who cares about all this fluff that maybe you, but definitely me, like to add to our words? Nobody. No, get to the point, convey your intention, and use the fewest number of words that are necessary to convey your intention. One way that you can remove this fluff is to take multiple sentences and combine them into a single sentence. For example, the German King Ludwig's castles are significant and culturally important examples of the confluence of opulence and personal desire. One of his castles, Schloss Neuschwanstein in Bavaria, was never completed as a residence. All right, let's simplify that. Ludwig's castles reflected his preference for royal splendor. Yes, I know that the concise version of the combined sentences doesn't convey that Ludwig never really lived in Neuschwanstein, but that's okay. If that's important, add it to the concise version. But it's probably not that important because the focus of the original two sentences was on Ludwig's desire for royal splendor. Remove all the unnecessary words from your text. And although you may sometimes feel an emotional attachment to the words that you've written, particularly once you've printed them on paper, it's like they're part of you. There's something you created. This is when I think you should take to account Arthur Quiller Couch's advice to murder your darlings. Sometimes it's said as kill your little darlings, and it's attributed to Faulkner. Regardless, many authors over the last 100 years or more have addressed this topic of Get rid of the unnecessary words in your statements. And in attempting to delete those words or to simplify your phrasing, it can feel like you're tearing at something that is part of you. It's something that you've created. I'm sorry. I recognize this can be difficult, but I'm urging you to do it anyway because it will make your writing better. Okay, so how do you go about being concise in your writing? Well, once you've written something, slowly read the sentence aloud. So if you've written an entire paragraph or a whole paper, take each sentence one at a time and read it aloud. Mark the words in each sentence that you think are important. I want to rephrase that. Take each sentence one at a time and mark the important words. Then see if you can recompose a sentence that conveys the same intention about those important words, but use fewer words to do it. For example, here's a verbose statement. When I began working in learning teams in college, I gained a whole new perspective that let me see the bigger picture of how I could contribute to a group effort. Okay, I think the important words are began working, learning teams, new perspective, bigger picture, contribute, and group effort. Taking those important words, I can rephrase the original verbose statement in a more concise revision. Learning teams have let me see that I can contribute to a group effort. It conveys the same intention. There's no significant change in the meaning or the usefulness of the sentence, other than it's been improved because it's more concise. It's easier to understand, both for a reader of your text and a listener in an oral presentation. Okay, so here's one of the challenges for a college student. Your professors will often assign a minimum word count to each of your papers. Okay, I prefer not to do that. And when I have the ability to create my own assignments, and I don't have to agree to assignments that will be used in all sections of a course that I'm teaching, I don't assign minimum word counts because I specifically want students to be succinct, to be concise, not to be terse. I don't want them to be brusque or unemotional, but I do want them to get to the point in the fewest number of words. Most of my colleagues assign a minimum word count. Well, how do you meet that minimum word count and still write in a concise manner? Go get more data. Let me say that again. Go get more data. The way you meet a minimum word count is to have sufficient information in your paper, not sufficient words, believe it or not, but sufficient information that you will then have enough words to meet the minimum word count. Look at presenting a different perspective on the data that you've acquired. And focus on writing concrete sentences. Make judgments about the data that you've read. State your informed judgment. The penalty generally for writing in a verbose manner using superfluous words is often pretty significant. So you might think by fluffing your paper to meet the minimum word count, you're going to earn a good grade on the assignment. You're actually likely to earn a reduced grade because you included superfluous words in your statements. So while yes, you may not receive a point deduction because you missed the minimum word count, but you're likely to receive a pretty significant point deduction for kind of fluffing your paper. So, in summary, concise writing is clear and direct. It uses the fewest words to clearly convey an intention. It's not unnecessarily clipped or spare. It's not brusque. It is grammatically complete. And if you're wondering what are examples of brusque, I'd suggest consider the terse oral commands of a drill sergeant. Forward, march. Company, halt. Or a vehicular traffic sign. Stop. Yield. No outlet, which is, I always found kind of funny because when I was dating my wife, she made the comment that when she was a child, she thought no outlet meant there was no electricity on that street. And I think that's a very reasonable assumption for a child to make when reading that road sign. Concise writing makes every single word carry weight in the sentence. Every word is necessary. There are no superfluous words. Concise writing is usually written in the active voice. Not always, but most of the time. But as is most good American English writing, it's written in the active voice. And concise writing is not repetitive. Makes the statement, moves on to the next statement. Doesn't repeat the information. So now I'm going to ask you to help out other students. In the comments below this video, tell us, how do you go about editing and proofreading your writing to make it as concise as possible? Or honestly, do you even bother doing that? How often do you find that you could have made your sentences a little bit shorter? Now, I am not advocating for terse, meaning brusque, very short statements consistently, but I am advocating to not write in an overly complex or superfluous manner that includes words that are not necessary. Please leave your comments below so that you can share your advice with other students, and we can use the commenting function as a way of helping one another out. Writing concisely is really important in all types of writing. Academic writing, business writing, journaling, journalistic writing, newspapers and magazines. I hope that you're able to improve the quality of your writing when you focus on being concise. Until we meet again in a future video, I wish you the absolute best in all of your academic work, particularly in your ability to be concise. Bye for now. Mika. What a nice dog you are. Do you like that belly rub? Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, I see you paying attention to me, but you're just relaxing. Did you like that video? Yeah, I love you. You're such a good dog.